What is a dirty little, or big, secret about an industry that you have worked in, that people outside the industry really ought to know? Wearing gloves in kitchens is a goddamn lie. They don't offer any sort of protection. They're actually more prone to spreading germs and filth because people don't wash them between touching different kinds of food. They exist to give the illusion of safety and professionalism. As someone who's worked in kitchens, I'd much rather see a cook wash their hands than throw a latex glove on. I work with kids at a daycare and we see babies take their first steps sometimes, but we never tell the parents because we don't want them to feel bad about missing it. I'm just going to say it, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and store-brand generic Frosted Flakes are exactly the same. Source: myself. I worked in the packing factory and changed the boxes all the time. Corporate safety culture is not about protecting you from injury, it's about protecting the company from a lawsuit after you get injured. When businesses like Taco Bell, PetSmart or others ask you to round up to donate to a cause, it is 100% for the tax write-off they receive. They are allowed to donate money and pay less taxes. Instead of paying from their overall sales and profits, they con customers to pay extra to do it for them. This leaves their overall sales intact while increasing their yearly profit by paying less in taxes. If you want to donate, just do it yourself and give more than $1. I am a Romanian who has worked for a US military contractor. The DoD doesn't care about the price of the things the military is buying. I once sold a bag of 240 hex nuts for $9,000, it's not a typo, which I got for $25. The spending the DoD does is really as bad as you might have heard of. The more they spend, the better. It is actually scary how much money they throw away. Olive oil. I work at an olive oil bottling plant in Rome, New York. We had only one oil, but put it in 27 different packages, that sold at different prices. Some of the bottles claim to be aged and imported. Some claim to be virgin, others extra virgin. Some cold pressed. One brand sold for $30 for 12 ounces, where another sold 128 ounces for $12. All the exact same oil. Nothing about The Voice, American Idol, etc. is real. Your votes don't matter. Everything is predetermined. In some cases they even choose your audition song for you, and if they want to tear you down for entertainment, they'll choose something they know you can't sing. And with the contacts artists sign, you cannot refuse. Source: professional musician. I have not been on those shows but have friends who have. I cannot name names, them even telling me that stuff was against contract legalities. Funeral homes are businesses, and funeral directors will absolutely take advantage of grieving people. The most offensive to me are the cremation boxes. They're literally just big cardboard boxes, and should cost less than $100. But they also make really expensive boxes, and directors will say things like "Grandma would be more comfortable in this." No, she won't, because she's dead. Some of these boxes reach $1,000, and of course are all just burned. This one is a little trivial compared to others in here, but wine isn't vegan. It's not even vegetarian in some cases. The fining process uses egg whites, and sometimes isinglass, fish parts. When I worked in a tasting room, people would come in and be like, "I'm vegan, but thank God I can still have wine, Amire." And I wanted to tell them that they weren't right, but I also wanted to sell them wine. The clothes you find at an outlet, more often than not, are not cast-offs or overages from the regular store. There's a whole separate entity that designs and produces clothes at a lesser quality for outlet prices. Starbucks corporate makes us have those recycling bins in the lobby to present this green image, but most of the time all of the garbage ends up going to the dump anyway because the facility doesn't have recycling. I don't know that this is a secret, but flight attendants and pilots don't get paid while boarding, deplaning, and delays. So when you're delayed and angry, so are we. We're not making money and still have to be there. I work in a vet ER. If you check the resuscitate box on our form, we will absolutely do our best to resuscitate your pet. And I mean at least 15 minutes chest compressions, intubating and manual breathing, heat support and reviving drugs. It's an all-hands-on-deck situation and we take it extremely seriously. That being said, I have never seen it do more than have a pet have a heartbeat and automatic breathing long enough for an owner to say goodbye. I have never seen an animal recover. Basically, you shouldn't check that resuscitate box. It doesn't do anything but let us fight for your pet's life and lose. I'm a DNR myself. I don't want to go through that, and I don't want the ER staff to go through another unsuccessful attempt. Animator here. It's coming more and more to light lately, but big animation studios and game companies treat their employees like crap, and pay them barely anything and expect them to work hard because of the love for the job. And they can get away with that because there are hundreds of thousands of other creatives who would be more than happy to deal with all of the BS just for a chance to work at a AAA studio. Really, it's not just animation though, the entire entertainment industry is this way. That food on your plate wasn't made with love or care, it was quickly made with stress and hate by a cook either swearing at somebody or being sworn at. Doctors spend so much time in their specific niche that they know jack shit about anything else. If you're rude to a Starbucks barista, most of the time will just decaffeinate your drink. Almost every registered nurse has what is called a blacklist of doctors she or he would not want even remotely near them should they need emergency services. People need to take better care and precaution of who they choose to accept as their doctor. Mobile homes are cheaply made and mass-produced by people making $9 an hour and don't give a crap if it's up to code or safe. Hundreds of people in a factory with little supervision, and the main goal is to get as many made as possible, with little care to protocol, codes and fire stopping. I got hired as a HUD admin, ended up doing inspections so we could stop getting fined by the fire marshal, and the amount of crap that is overlooked and not cared about is infuriating. I work in the wedding industry. Every single service you purchase for your wedding has a marked up price because we know you're going to spend it. People always joke that most psychologists become psychologists because they are crazy. I've worked in close proximity to a bunch of forensic psychs for the last few years, it is true. Other academics will steal your work for themselves and publish it under their name. Hospitals are not clean. The only really clean place in a hospital is the operating room, other than that the place is crawling with germs and whatever else has mutated on the floors and walls. I worked for a movie theater. A large bag of popcorn that cost the customer $5.99, at the time, cost the movie theater 6 cents to produce, including the butter, the kernels, the bag, the power used by the popper and the time it took the concession employee to fill up the bag and give it to the customer. I make super expensive stuff that is bought by several governments and some high-end consumer product manufacturers. One of the machines that every bit of product has to go through only works right if you stand there and poke at it with a stick. We don't even have a special stick. It's just a metal rod that fell off of another piece of equipment that we wrap some tape around to make a handle. We always make the new guy do it, because it is super boring. When renting a storage unit, you do not need to get the insurance they offer. Even if they say it's mandatory, it's illegal to force you to get insurance. Also, the rent will increase yearly, forever. At a hospital, the straight cash price discount for many outpatient tests, MRI, CT, X-ray, ultrasound, labs, etc., can often be cheaper than using insurance and dealing with deductibles, co-pays, co-insurance, and on and on. I've seen tests billed for thousands of dollars to insurance cost a cash-paying patient less than $400. It's insane. In academia, you create content for privately owned journals like Science and Nature, but still you have to pay them. Also, scientists who review journals' articles for the peer review process do it for free. If you don't participate in this process, you can't get papers, and if you don't have papers, you don't get funding and subsequently starve and die. The official policy for customer dissatisfaction at a particular Canadian coffee franchise I worked at was, offer them free stuff until they stop complaining.